as we just approved, will be joining us in the fall as our newest addition to the principal staff. And Ellen, we wanted to give you a chance to say a few words.
Thank you so much, members of the board. I am just thrilled about this opportunity. As I joined the Hoover School community and Burlingame School District, I'm bringing with me over 20 years of experience in education, from my years as a classroom teacher, 3 years as an instructional coach, and actually 9 years as a school administrator. I see myself as a very creative, collaborative, and communicative leader, and I'm so thrilled about the opportunity to get to know all of the Hoover students, the staff, and to join Hoover School and Burlingame School District. So thank you so much. Very grateful.
Thank you, Ellen. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, and I look forward to meeting all of you in person at some point soon.
Likewise. All right. Next up is item 10, administration, public hearing on the call for an election on a special qualified special tax, and this is our parcel tax. So we'll open a public hearing and then take public comment.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll open the hearing for public hearing on the call for election on a qualified special tax, and we'll take the comments now.
Okay. If anyone else has a blue slip, they can go ahead and bring it up. This would be the time. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll give you the first one.
Okay.
This one down.
Great. First speaker is Emily Beach.
Thank you. Where would you like us to speak?
Right up
Yeah,
the table there.
All right. Afternoon, good evening, Ms. Brown, honorable trustees. It's great to see you all. And so my name is Emily Beach. I'm a Burlingame resident. My children have aged out of Burlingame School District, but they attended K through 8 and had great experiences in their neighborhood schools. I'm here just to show up in person because I care so deeply about this district and say thank you for putting this special tax and considering it. I think it's a really important investment, even though, again, my kids have aged out. This is a really important investment, in my opinion, for not only the community, not only for our property tax values, but most importantly for our kids. To make sure that they've got teachers that are feeling great about working in Burlingame with competitive salaries. It's been a long time since we've asked the Burlingame voters to support the schools. And I wholeheartedly support it. Nobody likes taxing, but that's something we can do locally and really have a huge impact on our community. So thank you for considering it. These are tough decisions. Look forward to hearing other public comments, but I felt so strongly I wanted to show up tonight. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, Emily. Great. I don't see a name on this one. Should I just read it?
Did you want to come up and provide your public comment?
Yes.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Linda Milliken. I'm a resident here of Burlingame. I'm retired 30-year teacher from San Mateo School Districts. So I am very grateful that you are finally recognizing teachers. Teachers are the program. We are the ones that implement the program. Without the teachers there, the students can't succeed. So I'm asking you, why do you feel the need for an additional tax? Is the funding from the state changing? I know that that does happen at times. When will the tax sunset? What percentage will go to the actual teacher's salary? So many times as teachers, we hear that, oh yes, we're going to improve their salaries, and sometimes we get we're not first on the list. So I'm glad that you're recognizing that. How much money are you looking to raise? You mentioned 14 cents per square foot, but that doesn't tell me how much you're looking for it. What is the cap amount? That wasn't listed. And then how will this affect the tenant landlord relationship in a rent controlled state? And what is the current class size for elementary and middle schools? It used to be 20 to 1, but I know the state changes their funding. So those were some of the things that I was interested in. But I'm a big supporter of schools, but I think these are also questions that need to be addressed. So thank you very much for your time and talent. I know it's a lot for you to go out I would do everything right to support the schools, but we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Linda. And I suspect we'll address some of your questions in our discussion.
Thank you.
That was the last
That's
public
awesome.
comment.
Okay. Great. All right, so 10B is the resolution. Oh, sorry, I think it's a reminder, I'll close the public hearing. Move to item 10B, which is the resolution itself. I think we see Marla, was Marla or Marie gonna introduce this, or would you like me to? I'm happy.
I believe Superintendent Silver Smith will introduce.
Okay,
And
perfect.
it's- there you go.
Great. Good evening, Board of Trustees and audience members. I am bringing forward tonight a resolution 24/25-1 calling for an election for a qualified special tax, establishing specifications of the election order and requesting consolidation with other elections occurring on November 5th, 2024. With regards to placing a parcel tax on the ballot for the Burlingame School District. And you can see below the details in. Are you guys able to hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And you can see below the details, and I'm bringing it forward for discussion and vote this evening.
Great. Thank you, Marla. The resolution itself is attached to the agenda. Just to highlight a couple of points, it does have a term of 8 years. It proposes 14 cents per building square foot on parcels with a tax of the cap amount of $2,500. So it so for commercial properties or anything that has a very large structure, the amount would be capped at 2,500. And yeah, so I think those are the basics. 8-year term. We're voting to pursue this, put it on the ballot, and potentially undertake efforts to get it passed in our personal capacities. So, I guess I'll open it up for any discussion.
I had some questions. Last I remember discussing this at a previous board meeting, we discussed price per square foot versus flatline tax per parcel. And I don't recall us voting to move in a direction. So I was surprised to see the resolution written 14 cents. Who wrote that? Why was that decided? Not 15 cents, 13 cents, 20 cents. How did that come about?
Yeah, no, good question. So as you'll recall, we did form a committee of 2 of us so that we could have meetings without public, meeting law violations. So Lisa and I have been the committee, if you will, to evaluate alternatives. And so we've had conversations with our consultants, who's represented by Jeremy here in the room, reviewed the survey results that came back, as well as the public comments that came back on the mailer that went out. We've heard from a number of folks via that in terms of preferences. So what we pursued was kind of synthesizing all of that, trying to find a level that we thought we could get approved that would generate a significant amount of money for the district. That the amount that's projected to be raised, if it passes, would be something between $3 and $3.5 million per year. So that's well north of 5% of our budget. It moves the needle quite a bit in terms of our budget theory, but we tried to pick numbers that were not so high that they would be either burdensome to homeowners or difficult to get approved. So that's kind of how we landed there. I will say this is not, we have approved the resolution, so certainly anything's up for discussion tonight. But that's how we got there.
No, I think that's all great. I just didn't know that.
Yep. Well, I should have started with that.
And Jeremy, if my math is correct, 14 cents a square foot is roughly $200 for a 1,500 square foot house.
That's correct. Jeremy, other part of the team, so it's good to see you guys.
Thanks for joining us, Darren.
Of course.
Would you be able to share a little about the senior exemption as well?
Yeah, so there are actually 3 exemptions available under the law. All 3 have been written into your resolution. The first and most common is an exemption for homeowners over the age of 65. So if you own a home in the district, 65 and up, you can file for an exemption for the cost from this measure and other existing measures in the district. Not have to pay it. There are also exemptions available to homeowners who receive SSI or SSDI, Social Security income for disability.
And do you have to re-prove that?
You do not.
issue? So one time and then.
Correct.
Then we also heard, you mentioned briefly our role if this does get approved tonight. Could you cover that, Jeremy, what the board role is if this is approved tonight, or is it out of our hands at that point?
There are some rules about district resources that are very cut and dry, right? District resources, i.e. staff time, printers, email accounts, school sites cannot be used to advocate for the passage of the measure. On your personal time, you have First Amendment rights as an elected board member, as a citizen, that you can express in the form of supporting this measure monetarily, via an endorsement, via knocking on doors, putting up a lawn sign, all of that. So we would just ask that as a board and in a official district capacity, you not advocate the measure, but on your own time, you are free to be involved with the campaign.
So this is kind of it for the school board tonight if it passes.
That's correct.
Yeah, we've talked about it as sort of handing off the baton, so,
Yep.
you know, up until now, we've been exploring, gathering information, talking to people. We've gotten to this point to put this in front of us to vote. At that point, the board will step back. Presumably, we expect there will be a committee to, there would be a committee to try to get it approved and raise money and advocate, you know, we can help that in an individual capacity if we so choose, but it's not a
Great.
initiative at that point.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay.
So how soon would the, if it passes, how soon would we actually see the money from Parcel?
I think it's the first day of 2025 is the first dollar that comes in, right?
July 1st, 2025, that is when it would start. For a term of 8 years, so until 2033.
And I guess just to speak to the need in the budget, you know, anyone who's, you know, had the stomach to watch our board meetings or join us in person of the past 12 months or 2 years, I guess, that I've been on board. Clearly finding budget resources is really important to sustain the work that we do as a district. We are wrapping up, you know, contract negotiations with teachers. We all want to be able to pay the teachers as well as we can to be able to live here and recruit the best teachers for our kids. But it's also the biggest line item in our budget. We have, you know, escalating costs for PG&E, and all of our other line items have also gone up, no surprise. So we spent a lot of time as a board thinking about what are the levers that we can pull to make sure that we have a balanced budget and projection out 3 years so that we can continue to do the things that are important to our community and our students and our teachers and everyone, but have a way to pay for them. And I'm now speaking of my personal role in favor of the resolution. This is a good way for the community to support the schools on a, you know, sustainable recurring revenue stream that we can count on and build into the budget, and take some pressure off other places, but more importantly, allow us to do the things that we've outlined in the whereas clauses in the resolution, which is to you know, offer competitive salaries to teachers, maintain the quality programs that we have in education, and the fundamentals for the kids, class sizes, and all the other things that we can do with the money. And so, you know, I feel like this is an important way to get to move the district into a position where we can continue to do the great things that we're doing. We can have a plan to address the escalating costs that we all face, and we can attract and retain the best teachers for our kids. So that's my personal comment in favor. And
Just to
welcome.
piggyback on that, President Brown too, none of this money is allowed to go to any administrators. It would purely go to staff. And so it would not go to any administrator salaries. And I think that's really important too.
And program.
I'm sorry, what did you say, trustee Mudd?
To programs as well, so teachers and programs.
For parcel?
Mhm.
Correct. Yeah, I would, but no administrators. And CBO De La Cruz, currently what percentage of our budget goes to staff salary and benefits?
It's about 80%, 85. For salaries and benefits.
Second interim, your slide in second interim said what percentage? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it's about 85%.
I think it was, yeah, I think it was a lot higher than that in your last presentation. Okay,
And I guess the other thing is that the money stays local, so there's no way that the state can, the state has control over our, per pupil funding, which is our biggest revenue source, but this money would stay local and it would not have any ability to be, reallocated by the state and budget challenges or anything like that.
I asked that, maybe it's best to hear me, but in case the community is confused between a bond and a parcel tax, if you can explain the difference.
Be happy to. So a bond is used only for capital improvements. So infrastructure upgrades, repairs, expansions, facilities to accommodate enrollment growth cannot be used on program or salaries. Parcel taxes do not have those same restrictions. They can be used for a much wider range of services, most typically in the way that your measure is structured, it's for, as we mentioned, teacher salaries and academic programs, right? There are different voter thresholds needed for approval. In order for this measure to be successful, we need 2/3 support, meaning 2/3 of those votes that are cast specifically on this measure need to come back as yes for it to be approved. A bond measure under Prop 39 requires a 55% voter threshold to be approved, so a little bit lower. Final important distinction, mentioned it previously, but those exemptions are only available for parcel taxes and not available for school bonds.
I just want to add that we received a lot of positive feedback from the community about this. We did a lot of outreach to our not only our school community, but also Burlingame at large. The teachers are obviously very supportive. CSEA is very supportive. We had a chance to meet with various leaders around the community, and we've received a lot of support and reassurance that this is something that our community can.
Yeah, including from the Chamber of Commerce, the real estate agents and so forth. So for those that are focused on what we can do locally in our community to help our schools and our property values and the value of living in Burlingame, this is a very direct way to do that. All right, so I think we've answered most of the questions from the speaker. I was just going to take a quick look. With respect to the tenant and landlord relationships, it will be the landowners, the parcel owner's responsibilities to pay the tax if it were to be approved. That can, whether that's absorbed by the landlord or passed on to the tenant, it's kind of hard to say, but it would apply to both, owner occupied parcels as well as, rented parcels. It would be charged to the landowner.
President Brown, the June 11th board meeting proposed budget presentation said 86% of our budget was salary and benefits, to answer that question.
Okay, yeah, and that probably includes staff salary as well, right? Which would be excluded from this total salary.
Yeah, all of the employees.
Right. But certainly the teacher salaries would be the major part of that. Okay, well, have any more questions or discussions? Are we ready for a vote?
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Great. Can we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve, oh, I don't have the agenda.
It's item 10B.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10B.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, it passes 5-0, so we'll move ahead with the parcel. And that's the last item on our agenda, so we will adjourn at 5:37. Best meeting ever.